Hello, you guys. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever the time in your country. I just hope you're having a good time. Thank you again because you're here. You are loyal to me. You're loyal to the videos I'm posting. So thank you very much because you're here. You're watching this video. And of course, as every day, I hope you learn and you take the most out of this class. So today we're going to be talking about a very special topic. This is, it's not a so easy topic, it's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more advanced, and it is reported speech. So first, what is reported speech? Before talking about reported speech, I want to have a conversation about something that is pretty similar, something that a lot of people can use in the reported speech form. I have a couple of questions right here, like for example, gossip. So let's talk about gossip. What is gossip? Gossip is when you spread rumors that are, of course, not necessarily true, and you kind of maximize this information. You always spice this information a little bit. Like, for example, imagine I tell you, you know what, my best friend, she's 24 years old. Then you start talking about this to a different person, and you tell this person, like, Teacher Frank told me that his best friend, she was 40 years old or 30 something years old. So that's kind of gossip. That's something similar to the definition of the word gossip, is when you basically spread rumors, sometimes in a malicious way. It's like you really want to make sure that the information is not 100% true. So you start talking about it. Like, for example, I remember that when I was a kid, I have to admit it, I was a pretty, sometimes I was kind of mean, and I would always talk about other people in a kind of bad way sometimes, and that's something, of course, that it should not be done. I don't think that's a good thing, but well, this is gossip. Every single kid and every single person, every now and then, they gossip a little bit. They talk about other people in a kind of not so good way. So this is today's lesson. Today we're going to be talking about gossip, and in order to start today's class, I want to talk and I want to share a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation. This is about reported speech. As I told you, it's not an easy topic, but I'm going to try to make it as simple as I can. So let's see, reported speech. What is reported speech? Reported speech is just it's a way to report what a different person told you or what a different person said to you. Like, for example, a lot of people use this piece of grammar to talk about news, like Mr. President said he was going to build a wall between North America and Mexico. So this is reported speech. It's when you basically report what a different person, what another person said to you, not necessarily to you, but what a different person said. I can tell you, for example, that my mom told me that she was going to build a house by the time she was 35. So this is reported speech. I'm just reporting. I'm just trying to tell you what a different person told me before or what a different person said before. So let's see, we have a couple of examples. Like, look at this. Imagine someone says the earth is moving, or something similar. It can be like, this crazy scientist says the earth is moving. So a different example could be like, Galileo said the earth was moving. So in this case, these are examples of what other people say, and you just repeat it. Okay, so how do you use reported speech form? There are some common reporting verbs that you can use to report a speech or to report a sentence, and the most common ones are say and tell. Like, for example, she told me, he said. But you also have different verbs that are very common, and they can be pretty handy for you when it comes to trying to use different verbs and trying to sound more polite, more elegant somehow. So you can say, for example, tell. You can also say claim. Like, for example, she claimed she was going to go to the beach tomorrow, or something like that, right? So they are similar words. Say, tell, claim. State is also a kind of similar word to the previous one, to the previous ones we are talking about. You can also report a question. Like, for example, imagine my mom asks me, Frank, are you going to eat dinner? And then I report this question, and I can tell my sister, for example, you know what, sis? My mom asked me whether I wanted to eat dinner or not. So you can also use the word ask to report a question. You can also use the verb think to report a thought. For example, imagine my mom says, or my dad, or any person says, I think the world is beautiful. And I can use this word to report what this person thought. Like he thought the earth was beautiful. All right. You can also use the word announce. So I'm going to mark the words or the verbs that are pretty similar in terms of meaning and to report verbs or to report sentences. Like for example, say, tell, claim, state, and announce. These five verbs, these five reporting verbs are pretty similar in terms of meaning. So I said something, or she said something, she told me something, she claimed something, she stated something, she announced something. So this is these verbs are pretty similar. And let's move on to the next part. The next part is of course kind of really interesting. Let's see, for example, let's see the differences between say and tell. A lot of people confuse this. A lot of people say my teacher told she liked sushi. So this is incorrect, and we're going to talk about why it is incorrect and how to use it properly. For example, the first look at the first example. It goes like this: he said that he was tired, versus he told me he was tired. So okay, look at this. He told me that he was tired. A question can be, what did he say to you? Versus if you use tell, you can say, what did he tell you? So what is the difference here? Let's go back. Okay, what is the biggest difference? The biggest difference is this little word here, the object pronoun. Whenever you use the word tell, most of the times you have to use an object pronoun like me, him, her, it's sorry, you can also say them, us, any other type of object pronoun. But when it comes to the word say, you never use the object pronoun. You can never say, he said me something good. That's not correct. You can say, he said something good to him. So most of the times, when you use the word say in a reported speech form, after the word say, you have to use a phrase, maybe a noun phrase, or maybe a sentence. Like for example, he said he was going to go to the beach. So this is a sentence. He was going to be to the beach. He was going to go to the beach, sorry. Why is it a sentence? Because it has a subject, which is he, verb, which is was, in this case was going to go would be the verb, and of course the complement would be to the beach. So he said he was going to go to the beach. He, subject, go, verb, and beach, complement. So this is the structure of a sentence, right? So you have to keep that in mind next time you use reported speech form. Now if you look at the board I'm sharing right now, I'm going to be telling or I'm going to try to use the different verbs. It can be either say, said, tell, or told. For example, number one, he was tired. So since in here you have, let me mark it, since in this part you have an object pronoun. No, it's not an object pronoun, sorry. In this case, the word he is just a subject or a personal pronoun. And it's a complete sentence. He was tired. You have subject, verb, and complement. So in this case, since you don't have an object pronoun, of course, you have to use the word say. Or in this case, you have to use the word say in past, which is said. Remember, the difference in terms of pronunciation between say and said is this: say and said. A lot of people say said. He said. It's not said, it would be said. So let's write it here. Let's write it here. So number one would be he said. Oh, I think this is a little bit too big. Let me try to make this smaller. Okay. So he said he was tired. Number two, what is she? You. You in this case is an object pronoun. That's why you have to use tell. Remember, tell is used when the next word is an object pronoun. Then in number three would be and she didn't like Peter. She didn't like Peter. It's a sentence. So when you have a sentence, you have to use say. As I told you before, of course, say in past because you are reporting this sentence. All right. Okay. And the next one is Jack, me, you were ill. Me is an object pronoun. So when you have an object pronoun, you have to say tell or told, which is the past form. Okay, so Jack told me you were ill. And 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5 can be, please don't Jim what happened. Please don't tell Jim what happened. In this case, Jim is not, it is not an object pronoun, but it's an object, right? So don't tell Jim what happened. Then you have Lucy. Did Lucy, she would be late? Say, because she would be late is a sentence, all right? So did Lucy say she was going to be late or she would be late? The next one is the woman, she was a reporter. The woman said, because she was a reporter is a sentence. So the woman said she was a reporter. And the next one is the woman, us, she was a reporter. Us is an object pronoun, so you have to use again told, because told is the one verb you have to use when the next word is an object pronoun. All right, so I hope you are clear with this. I hope I am explaining myself well. I'm doing this really quickly because there's a lot of things we're going to be talking today, and let's practice a little bit more. I'm going to erase this. So let's look at the different things that change when it comes to changing a normal sentence to a reported speech form sentence. For example, if I tell you I love you, you need to change the pronouns, because if you are reporting something that a different person told you, you cannot say he told me I love you, because I'm not the one who loves you. The one who loves you is him, not me. So I hope I am making myself or explaining myself well. So if you say I would change to he or she, depending on whether the person who said this is a woman or a man. So I love you would be he said he loved me. The next thing that changes is the places, the expression of places. So for example, here, it's very nice here. So you are not going to say she said it was very nice here, because you might not be in that place when you report a sentence. So you have to change the time expressions or the places expressions, sorry. Like for example, here it would change to there. She said it was very nice there. Or you can also say in that place. The next thing that changes is the time word, the time expressions. Like for example, imagine that my boss tells me that a different person is coming tomorrow. I cannot report this like he told me that this guy was coming tomorrow. No, because I might be reporting the sentence in a different moment. So I can tell you they said he was going, or he was coming, sorry, the next day or the following day or the day after. You have different ways to report this. And of course, as you noticed before, the tense always changes. Instead of saying they are still working in present, then you take present, and present goes to the past form. So you don't want to say he said they are still working. No, you would change present to past. So present changes to past. He said they were still working. And don't worry, we're going to keep practicing. Don't worry. So we have, this is a kind of pretty summarized way to look at the different tenses and time words. So for example, when you say now in the reported speech form, it would be then, today is that day, yesterday, the day before, the previous as I told you before, tomorrow would be the day after, the next day, the following day, this week would be that week, last week would be the week before or the previous week in the reported speech form. Then you have next week would be the week after or the next week. Then you have today or 2 years ago, it would be 2 years before. And of course the tense, as I told you before, it changes. If you say he says in present, in the reported speech form, the present form changes to past. So he said. If you have, for example, it's cold here, the reported speech form would be he said or he told me, okay, Mr. Obama said it was cold there. All right. So in the direct speech form, as I told you before, if you have the verb be in present, it would change to past. Like for example, if you have am or is, it changes to was. If you have are, which is present, it changes to past, but of course the past form of the verb be in plural is were. If you have has or have in present perfect, it changes to past perfect, which is had. You have to use auxiliary had. If you had can or can't, since it is present simple, it changes to past, and the past form of can or can't is could or couldn't. And you have it right here. If you have will changes to would. If you have don't, the auxiliary don't or doesn't, since it is present, it changes to past, and the past form of the auxiliary don't or doesn't is simply did or didn't. Then you have, okay. The next part here is, what you have to keep in mind is that it's pretty simple to know how to write a reported speech form out of a direct speech sentence, out of a normal sentence, and you just have to keep in mind that when you report a sentence, you just have to go 1 tense back in time. If you have present, you go to past. If you have past, it goes to past perfect, and so on and so on. For example, present simple, as we told you before, goes to past simple, present continuous, past continuous in the reported speech form. If you have present perfect, it goes to past perfect in the reported speech form. If you have past simple, it goes to past perfect. If you have past continuous, it goes to past perfect continuous. If you have past perfect, this is a very good news. Don't complicate your life that much. If you have past perfect in the reported speech form, it just remains the same. It's past perfect. And let's see, let's practice. Let's do a couple of examples. Like, for example, I will call you. Since I told you will changes to would, the correct reported speech form is he said or he told me he would call me, right? The next one is I don't like my job, Angelo said. Don't like is present simple, so it changes to simple past. And the reported speech form would be Angelo said he didn't like his job. It's not my job, it's his job, right? Then you have Hansel, okay, we're going to buy a new house. You can say Hansel and Gretel said they were going to buy a new house. The next one is I'm enjoying my new job, and the reported speech form is Chandler said he was enjoying his new job. The next one is my father isn't very well, Boba Fett said. So the reported speech form is Boba Fett said his father wasn't very well. I will find a murderer, Sherlock said. Sherlock said he would find the murderer. The next one is she looks tired. I told you. Okay, I told you she looked tired, right? I feel fine. He said he felt fine. My son doesn't like school. He said. She said. Okay, she said her son didn't like school. I have to operate on you, he said. So he told me he had to operate on, in this case, me, because I'm the one who's reporting the sentence. You're sitting in my spot, Sheldon shouted. I was sitting on his spot. I have to sail away now, the captain said. He had to sail away in that moment or that time. Okay, my sister has gone to Australia. Brett said his sister had gone to Australia. Remember, present perfect changes to past perfect in the reported speech form. A disturbance in the force I can feel. So Yoda said a disturbance in the force he could feel. I can't believe my eyes, they thought. So they thought, okay, yeah, they thought he couldn't believe his eyes. Okay, I'm watching you, he said to me. So he said he was watching me. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm sorry that I made you cry. So John sang to Yoko. He hadn't meant to hurt her. That's it, right? You have learned the reported speech the teacher told us. We had learned the reported speech form. Present perfect changes to past perfect. Remember that. Okay, this was a really intense lesson. It's really quick. It's really fast because today this is a topic that not a lot of people like because it's really difficult. So I wanted to explain it really fast and have you see how easy this topic is. It's not that difficult. You just have to remember that when it comes to reporting a sentence, you just have to take the sentence and move it 1 time back. Okay, or 1 tense back in time. Simple present, past simple. Present perfect, past perfect. Present continuous, past continuous. That's it. So please keep that in mind. That's everything for today, guys. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for liking the video. Please like and share the videos because it will really help me. So the teacher, when you share the video, you just have to repeat this sentence. The teacher told me the teacher told me that I had to share, like, and comment on the video. So that's it, guys. Take care. Have a good night. Bye bye.